Well, we're getting down to the wire here with the 91 Audi 200 Quattro station wagon. Customers picking up this weekend in a few days, and there's always little things left on cars like this. I noticed that with the seat heaters, you turn them on, the relay clicks, but the seat doesn't get hot. I asked him, do you care? He's like, yes, I want the heated seats to work. So I'm like, oh crap, let's diagnose it. So, got to go to our relay panel. So the heated switches right here, passenger and driver, and the rear seat also has heating elements in it. When someone sits on here and the front seat heaters are on, these also turn on when this little switch is depressed. It's pretty crazy, but that's the way it's designed. So, there are two relays in this relay center. These two right here for the heated seats. Let's take a look at the wiring diagram. Now this relay layout, it just doesn't make much sense to me. The relays are in the wrong spots, but we can just see which one's clicking and which wires go to them. So, passenger heated seat relay, driver's heated seat relay. And it's just 2 pages, so that's nice. So the relay is fed by fuse S20 30 amp. This is the power feed, the main, high current. And then from our switches, see there's a switch. Again, it's powered in ignition. And when you turn the little thumb wheel, so that's just the ground, that's the illumination for the switch. And right here is where the action happens. This closes and sends power to track 18. And track 18, I should have just printed 2 pages here. Or I'm sorry, 16 and 15 right here. So from 1 and from 2. So it goes to this relay, and then the relay should set power to the driver seat element, driver's backrest element. And I guess there is the little thermal switch or little temperature sensor in here. But the main power should come on this black and yellow wire through the 2 elements. So should be pretty simple. With the key on, this relay's clicking, and then with the passenger thumb wheel, this relay clicks, but it's very faint. So potentially we could have some corrosion inside the relays. Let's pop these out. First I want to label them D and P. We can swap them over, see if they sound different, and then see if they're actually passing current to these heating elements. Okay, so I moved the driver's relay to the passenger slot, and when we turn that thumb wheel, hear a nice click. So the passenger relay was definitely not clicking the same, but it doesn't mean the relay's good. We need to get to the wires back here. Hopefully you can see these and see if they're actually sending out voltage and current to the seats. Alright, let's first check the power feed to the relay. That'll be this pin right here. It's a red and white wire. You can kind of see it when you tilt the relay. And then the black and yellow, the other fat one, this pin is going to go to the driver's seat. So we can jump these 2 manually and measure the current and see if this, the seat heats up. Alright, so I have the 2 terminals with the adapters there. So we know this one is power. Okay. Now let's put the test lay on power and see if there's continuity through the seat heater. Wah, wah, wah. No continuity from this black and yellow wire through the driver's seat element and the driver's backrest element. Well, that's not good. Let's try the same test for the passenger side. Okay, so for the passenger side, if we go from power to that terminal, we get a nice bright light. So the passenger circuit through the seat seems to be good. Interesting. What we can try is plug in the good clicky relay into the passenger side, turn that on, and see if the passenger seat heats up. That will at least tell us if that circuit's good, but then we'll need to figure out the driver's side. Alright, so for the back seats, we're actually getting power from the passenger heated seat relay, and it goes off the page black and red to here to these seat cushion switches. So let's see here, black and red. Anyways, I have a current clamp around this wire. Let's see if there's any current drawing. There is. 5 amps. What about the other one? 5 amps. So the rear seats work. Let's see if the passenger seat is getting warm. It is. Nice and toasty. And the backrest. Oh yeah. Very nice. Maybe put the thermal camera on there. So that works. You hear that relay switched off. So now we're just worried about the driver's seat. There's an open circuit somewhere in the heating element. Alright, let's keep going with the test light. So, driver's seat element, driver's backrest element. You can see there's this connector T6G, 6 pin, and the black and yellow wire comes through here, through pin 1, through the driver's seat element, to pin 5, and then a brown and blue wire back to the backrest element through back on pin 3 through a brown wire. So this is our connector. There's the black and yellow. So if I touch a test light from battery positive to here, no light. You can see this is a good ground. Now if we touch it to this brown and blue, we'll send voltage and we can check just the driver's backrest element. Okay, so the driver's backrest element's good, but there's no continuity through the seat cushion from here to here. There's not much else it could be. So if we go from here through here, there's no continuity. Well, that's a bummer. Well, here's why the relay on the original passenger side relay wasn't clicking very well. You guys see those points? See the green crusti's built in between those points? Yeah. That's better. Alright, so fix the relay, and when we turn on the switch, you'll see, boom. And check this out. We're definitely getting power to the seat, but it's not going through the seat bottom. We could connect this wire to the backrest. The backrest will be powered up, but these need to be connected in series. If we just jump here to here, it'll be too much current flowing through the backrest. It might burn that out. So I'm not going to touch the seat. The owner can replace it if he wants. But the problem is definitely diagnosed, so the only remaining issue is open circuit in the driver's side seat cushion. Alright, it's crunch time. the owner of the 91 Audi is picking it up tomorrow. He wants to drive it 4 hours on the highway back to New Jersey. He's like, Ivan, do you think this car will make it? And I asked him, how much do you trust vintage German engineering? He's like, well, I have this old Mercedes that has 450,000 miles on it and it can go cross country. I'm like, well, this isn't really a Mercedes. This is a quirky Audi. I think it'll make it. But I want to put as many miles on it here locally before the customer picks it up. So last night, had to go into town for groceries. I told the wife, hey, let's take the Audi, let's take it for a spin, go into town and back, drive it around, make sure it's all good. We made it about 3 miles. Well, actually pulling out of the driveway, it made this little thump, 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 thump sound. Like, wonder what that is. About 3 miles later, I pulled over just to check, you know, was it the brakes, is it something else? Everything was fine. We started driving, and all the warning lights came on. Charge, brake, ABS, and the voltmeter was showing less than 12 volts. I'm like, that's not good. Pull over in a parking lot, and here's what I found. Do you guys see something missing here? Well, there's the power steering belt. What about the alternator belt? It was completely MIA. And the power steering belt is pretty loose. So I'm like, it was almost getting dark, so I'm like, we gotta turn the lights off. We have to try to get back home. Hopefully the battery still has a good charge. We turned around, and at that intersection where the lights came on, my wife's like, what's that in the road? Is that your belt? Sure enough, this sucker was laying right in the middle of the intersection. That's the alternator belt. So this thing just spit it out, and there we were. So made it home fine. Here it is. Let's figure out why it threw off the belt. Right before this happened, I kind of noticed a burning rubber smell. That's why I was checking the, you know, are the wheels getting too hot? Are the brakes rubbing? Well, no, it was the belt getting slightly shredded. As you can see, this is an old school V-belt. You don't see these anymore in modern cars. And it's very thin, like it got shaved on the sides. Why is that? Well, the harmonic balancer looks very rough and rusty because the car was sitting for 15 years in the woods. And the owner, when he had the alternator rebuilt, he put on a new belt. Well, that new belt didn't last, what, 100 miles, and it got thrown off because the rust on the pulley thinned it out, it got loose, and then threw it right off. You can see the power steering belt is extremely loose too. It's been rubbing on the plastic right there. So that's a problem. What we're going to do is take this belt off too. I'm going to start and run the engine, and from down here, let's see if we have what kind of tool we want to use for this job. Maybe take a big file. This is for shaving down horse hooves. But we're going to use it to shave off the rust off this alternator pulley. So when the engine's running, it's going to be turning that way. I'm just going to put the file right here and get into the grooves and clean out the grooves so they're nice and smooth so they don't chew the belt up. The second groove is for the AC, which is obviously non-functional. And then the third groove is for the power steering. Hopefully we can get in there, clean that up as well. And the pulleys themselves look, well, they look a little rough, so we might have to clean those up too. But let's do that. I have a couple new belts coming. They are available. They're just V-belts, and we'll throw those on. And hopefully this car will be ready to go by tomorrow. Alright, so I got the friction surfaces on the power steering pulley nice and cleaned off, nice and smooth. So let's compare. This is the alternator belt. If we put in this pulley, look how far down it sits. So a brand new V-belt should be pretty much flush with the top of the pulley. That one is completely gone. And this one, the power steering belt, it's also worn, but not as bad as the alternator. So that explains our issue for sure. You can see where the belt is touching on the pulley, right on those smooth surfaces, and once we get a new belt, it'll be perfect. But you can see why modern cars use, you know, the updated multi-rib belts versus these V-belts. On my old Mazda 89 MPV, it uses these V-belts, and the alternator belt, like clockwork, grenades every 30,000 miles. It gives you a little warning, but you have to carry a spare belt and some tools in order not to get stranded. I've had to replace that belt on the road at least 3 or 4 times, and if you have the tools, it's not a big deal. It's like 15 minutes, but if you don't, you're in trouble. So now, got this cleaned off, alternator pulley. I'll try to do the same type of cleaning there, and then the harmonic balancer. That'll be fun. We'll just turn the engine on and run the file along those grooves. One more thing, this alternator, I noticed it's a little wobbly. The top mounting point, there's a bolt right here, but in the back where the bushing is, it's empty. So you can get a shot of that. That's not good. Did the owner forget to reinstall a bolt? You see that? Right there. There's supposed to be a bolt in there. It's just a bushing. I'm going to ask him, because you can't really drive around with your alternator flopping around. Alright, so I'm probably going to end up taking the alternator off to clean this pulley right. And at the same time, we'll see what's up with the missing bolt in the back. And then I loosened up this really elaborate belt tensioning system. I've never seen anything like this. So this is purely for the alternator. The AC is over here. So I guess, you know, this is a straight line, and it needs to change the distance as the alternator swings around that pivot bolt. So at least that's loose. Let's get this guy off here, see what's up with that top bolt. Well, I got the engine mount, or whatever, alternator mount, off the engine block. This hole looks like a complete disaster. I don't know what thread it was. It's been retapped, rethreaded. There's something stuck in here, like a piece of an old bolt that was drilled out perhaps. Maybe it snapped off when the alternator is removed. But either way, we have to get that piece out. That's step one. And then try to salvage these threads somehow. Oh, fun times. Alright, so extracted the remains of the broken bolt. The owner did say that the bolt broke off when he was removing the alternator, so he tried to drill and tap it. But we're going to make this better than factory. I found a bolt with the correct thread, and it actually threaded in pretty nicely where the threads were undamaged further in. You know, up here it kind of just falls in, but once it starts threading in and it goes deep enough, then we should be in good shape. So basically this bolt is going to come in from the bottom, and let's put that in to the approximate depth. And we'll see if we have enough threads to yeah, I think that should work, because the alternator was about that thick. So this will screw in. Let's see how far that'll go. So right now the bolts are butting up against each other. So if I don't want to cut the bolt, we can put an extra washer in there, whatever. But this should work just fine, I think. Perfect. Alright, so I got the pulley halves off the alternator. Let's clean these up on the wire wheel. Alright, I think we're finally winning the battle here. Got both belts installed. The new alternator belt fit fine. The power steering one was too short, so I put the original one back on. It's nice and tight. For the tensioner, this original tensioner bolt was stripped out inside the alternator body, so I put in a longer, thinner bolt with a nut, and that seems to hold it just fine. Everything here is good. Let's start up the car, make sure it's charging, and then we'll be pretty much done. I hope. Alright, everything's back together. Alternator's on. Better than before. Yay, voltage is up. Back in business. We'll take this car up over the mountain again, make sure nothing blows up. Customer's picking up tomorrow. We have to do an interview with the customer. This has been a long project. Well, today's the day the Audi is going home. The owner here, the proud owner, Nick. I don't even know where to begin with this car, Nick, but the last procedure that we're doing is cleaning the fuel pump one more time. So we can at least go on a nice test drive and Nick can experience the full potential of this beautiful vehicle.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, he's very excited. We're just buttoning up the final details here. And after cleaning the pump, I had an idea of the return hose, which attaches from here. OEM routing was to the bottom of the bowl, and it's kind of like a jet pump to help fill the bowl, but unfortunately in this case it also picks up all the debris from the bottom of the tank and fills the bowl really quickly with rust, junk. So slight modification here. The return hose we just stuffed on the top of the bowl, so now it will be strictly filled with filtered gas, and that hopefully will slow down the contamination process. Now Nick, eventually, long-term solution, he will have to do some kind of chemical treatment to the tank to remove all the rust and either seal it, but he wants to do everything possible to avoid removing the tank from the car, right Nick?
Correct.
Because that would be a nightmare. You got to remove drive shafts, axles, exhaust, the rear differential.
Quite an ordeal.
Quite an ordeal, and you want to avoid that at all costs. So we're going to put this back together and take this baby for a final test drive before Nick takes it back to New Jersey. Now, Nick was smart. He actually brought his truck and a trailer instead of driving for 4 hours, because even though I'm confident in my work,
we know German engineering, it's not always reliable.
Right, especially with a rusty tank. Yes. You might make it halfway and then start losing power. It would just not be fun. So he is going to tow it back with his reliable diesel Ford. So we're at the sheets. We're filling this baby up with ethanol free, and Nick feels confident that we're just going to top it off.
We're filling her up. We're going to try it.
This thing's going to take like 20 gallons, and hopefully there's no leaks up top. And it might slow down the rust. If everything's covered in gas, then there's no moisture or water. So we'll see. And then we'll take it up over our favorite mountain, and Nick's going to feel the turbo boost and hopefully be satisfied with his new Audi. So we're spooling up the turbo. It always shows 60, but I'm sure we're going a little faster going uphill here. So this is the top. And now 2 miles steep grade and dangerous curves, which the Audi just laughs at because that's what it loves. And we have a owner's grinning. What do you think so far, Nick?
Loving it.
Love it.
Exactly how I expect her to handle.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
She's doing great.
We passed a slow-moving Subaru back there. Now there's a slow-moving Jeep. And we're going to test out the UFO brake rotors,
which are doing wonderfully.
You take your Porsches to the track, right, Nick?
Absolutely.
So this for you is just a little walk in the park.
That's right.
Now, how many turbocharged cars do you have?
With this one included, 5.
5 turbocharged cars. Okay, out of 27, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, we'll see if this becomes your favorite or not.
I think it is
already. It already is. Holy crap! Oh man. Oh.
Well, one of them is a diesel. No, actually, two of the turbochargers are a diesel. The other two are Volkswagens that are 4 cylinders. So
they're not
the
fun
extra
fast
cylinder
turbos.
Here, right?
So,
the extra cylinder here and the all-wheel drive.
Okay, passing zone coming up.
All right.
See, you don't have mountain roads like this in New Jersey.
No, we do not. We're all flat and boring. Passing zone, but traffic, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, no. Then there's a nice curve coming up, and then it gets even steeper. So. Well, we're back from our test drive. Final impressions, Nick?
Love it. I could not be happier. It's everything I expected and more.
I think that's all you need to say. So Nick will be excited to see this video series when it comes out. It'll probably be a full month of Audi restoration. You probably couldn't ask for anything more for a Christmas special,
that's
right, Nick?
I cannot wait.
All right, so the Audi performed phenomenally on our test drive. Full tank of gas, and here it is. We easily broke 100 miles an hour. It didn't even flinch, right?
I wasn't driving, that was you. No.
Hey. So yeah, it was like effortless. It felt like 65 miles an hour.
Great car.
Yeah, yep. So he'll keep me updated on how the fuel pump situation goes. With a full tank, it might go, a week. Hopefully, we'll see. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Longest restoration I've ever done. Probably the longest Audi restoration on YouTube coming up.
I would say so.
Yeah, yep. So.
And thank you so much, Ivan, for everything.
It was a pleasure, Nick.
Awesome. Yep,
pleasure. And that's it. Keep the old cars on the road, people. They don't make them like they used to.
That's right.
We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. We'll see you, Audi. You be a good car. I'll be honest, I am very relieved to get that thing out of my hair, but that was a fun project. And the customer's a really cool guy, so I think he'll be enjoying it for years to come. Thanks a lot for watching, and this is the Christmas special. Merry Christmas. Nice weather right now, but we'll see if we get some snow. That's what the Audi Quattro is for, but the owner said he's not going to drive it in the salt, which I don't blame him. But fresh powder, that thing would be a blast. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.